Hello, this is Johnny Balmer from Alchemy Audio.
Hey, it's Andy Alador.
Hi, this is Andy Alt, founder of Little Thunder and online marketing director to Steve Vai.
Hi, everybody. This is Andy Fuchs of Fuchs Audio Technology.
Hi, this is Bruce Bouillet.
Hey everybody, it's Carl Verheyen from the Carl Verheyen Band and from Supertramp.
Hey guys, this is Case Jumper from Soundcheck Nashville.
Hey, this is Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke.
Hey, this is Chris Broderick of Act of Defiance.
Hi, this is Craig Poole from the Guitar Shop.
Hey everybody, this is Dan McLaughlin, bass player for the Push Stars.
This is Dan O'Neill, owner of the Custom Rack Shop.
Hi, I'm Daniele Gottardo.
Hi everyone, this is Dave Borisoff at Hip Shot Products.
Hi, this is Dave Martone from Vancouver, Canada.
Hey everybody, this is Dave Nassie.
My name is Davey Knowles and you're listening to Amps and Axes.
Hey Jeff.
Hey Mick.
Today is the 100th episode.
Already?
How about that?
Oh, wow.
And we got to thank you guys, the listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is
big.
It's huge.
We didn't know
100.
We did not know where this thing was going to go. We did it, and then it was like, well, we'll just hang on and let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. And thanks to you guys and your communication with other people, our numbers have gone up basically every week since we started.
Right.
And
what that means?
What's that mean?
They've gone up 100 times.
Well, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the scale, if I could show this scale, if you look at this thing, it's like this little teeny tiny number to this very cool number that we have right now.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you all, man.
This is the best
welcome
day.
Welcome to our centennial.
Yes, and this is the best day of my week every single week.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Occasionally, it's the bane of no, it's not. I love doing this too. I'm busting with you. It's so much fun.
And before we start the show, to give you a little backside, we sometimes come in here. We're frazzled. I mean, Jeff's got his thing. I got a day job. We do our thing. We come in here, and as soon as this thing goes hot, it's like that all went away.
As soon as we hit the big red button,
it's a beautiful thing.
That's it. It is. So thank you all for thank you all for partaking in our thing.
Yeah. And now on with the show.
Yes, sir. Onward.
Neck throughs, guitars, they're like a guy that you won't have a beer with you.
I want to hear what's pushing the notes.
Freddie King and B.B. King, Albert King, and let's not forget Burger King.
I don't want to blow my knuckle out.
Stainless steel is the work of the devil.
These go to 11.
From the East Amplification Tone Labs in Baltimore, Maryland, it's the Amps and Axes Show with your hosts, Jeff the Godfather of Low Wattage Amps Bober and Mick Marcelino.
Well, good day to you, Mr. Bober.
Good day to you, Mr. Marcelino. How be you?
I just love computers.
Me too. It's always something, isn't it? Always something.
It's always a hit or miss. You always wonder if you're going to get the right thing at the right time.
These were supposed to make our lives easier.
All it does is make me get a little bit more gray.
Yeah. Well, you make $1 from them too, so I guess that's a good thing.
No, I'd rather dig holes if I could.
Well,
it's just, yes. Well, anyway.
Oh, you can dig a hole and then find every computer you can and bury it. It'd be very cathartic.
Pretty big hole.
Everyone that's ever given you a hard time.
Hey, guess who's on the other line? Our listeners.
Oh.
I wasn't even going to give you a chance to try to guess.
Wow. I would have never guessed.
And we have to thank them.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You guys are awesome.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Continue listening. Continue turning on your friends.
Yeah, man. This is a great thing we get to do every week.
Whip them into submission for turning on their friends too.
Yeah. And I don't say a great thing because we're doing it like we're great. It's great because we get to do it. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
not. I'm not trying to say we're great. I just love the fact that we get to do this, and then I get these really cool, positive Facebook things and emails and all. And, and we had the one guy from over there in England. We may have a possible very cool guest
or two.
And
I read that one.
Yeah, we'll leave that one as a teaser. So
it's becoming international.
Yes, and speaking of international, we got to thank our buddy. Is that international?
Yeah,
well, still part of North America, but you have to have a passport.
He's
right?
up there in Canada.
Do you have to have a passport to go in Canada?
I think you have to have a passport to go anywhere now.
I don't know anything.
I don't know, but you do have to go through customs. I do know that.
Oh yeah.
So you know, so he's.
So it's Mr. Jason Seditas with the
Quick Click.
Yeah, that's right. You said it
I was too quick.
Quick
Click.
And we, man, I'm losing it these days.
I'm freaking giddy today, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been under a little stress, but anyway, when you go, you got to go. You got to go to our webpage.
Oh, I thought you meant Canada.
No, not this. Canada.
Okay.
I mean, you can. If
the war's over, son. Well, that war. The other war's still on.
Well, if you want to see Jason,
absolutely.
Go up to Canada and say hi to him.
Absolutely. We were supposed to see him a few weeks ago on his way back from the southern part of this country up into the northern country over there. But he had to reroute because of
the hurricane.
The floods. You know, they actually had a stretch of I-95 closed down for days. That's why he couldn't come up the East Coast.
That's pretty bad.
I mean, I don't know if anybody knows I-95 out there, but that's not from the East Coast, but it is the main route up and down the East Coast. It is the
it's how
interstate.
Products move.
It's the interstate, right?
Yeah.
And it was so bad, and parts of the roads were washed out and everything down there. They actually had to close for days. So that's why we were supposed to have dinner with Mr. Tadita. So we'll take a rain check, my friend.
Yeah.
We'll take a rain check.
So when you do visit the website.
Oh, rain check. That's funny. Yeah, so
when you do visit the website, it's ampsandaccesscast.com. We tried Amps and Access, and some Chinese company had it to sell schlocky stuff. I've been on that. It's horrible. Don't buy anything from them. So ampsandaccesscast.com. When you're there, you're going to see an Amazon banner. It is getting, guess what? We're rounding the corner. We're going to be looking at Christmas.
Oh, we are. We hope you've bought all your Halloween candy through our Amazon banner.
You go there, you click on that banner, you go out to the Amazon site, you buy something, we get our beaks wet, but guess what? It doesn't cost you a dime.
It doesn't.
Not even a cent more.
And you know what you need to buy through Amazon before it gets hard to get? A drone. Go on Amazon, buy a drone. Maybe they'll even deliver it with the drone.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
Here's your drone.
Right.
Delivered by our drone. When you're there also, there's a PayPal button if you feel so kind. Because let me just tell you, the money that comes in pays for this to continue.
Right.
It's not like me and Jeff are going, well, let's sit back and smoke our cigars after the show because we just made, $100 grand.
Right.
No.
We'll pour the high dollar cognac.
Nothing like that. We that keep your generous contributions keeps the lights on, keeps this thing going. As we get more listeners, I guarantee you that price is going to go up because I've heard nightmares about the bandwidth.
I
can't wait for that.
Lovely.
And then when you're also there, you're going to see the social media stuff. Click on that stuff. Go like us. Like us on Facebook. Oh, the other thing, too. I always say, forget this.
What did you forget?
Go on iTunes and give us a 5-star. 5-star ratings are the best. That makes us rise.
Right. And we're easier to find.
Yeah. If you type in amps now, you start to see us. It's nice. I like that little thing.
Yeah. And, the more people listen to us, the more you have in common with virtual friends all over the globe.
Yes.
So,
the other thing is, too, and we'll let you in on a little bit. We work at this.
Yeah.
We are constantly doing a lot of emails, a lot of calling, a lot of trying to get artists on here to come on our show. And, you've got the reputation because of what you do, but I don't. And so sometimes I get yelled at. Mostly I don't.
Well, good.
And that's a good thing. And, but, when the rating goes up on iTunes, the artists will know the show more.
Right.
So then they may seek us out like a couple have already.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get it to where they come to us. Then we can really get some people that that we've always wanted to
So help
talk
us
to.
build the reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would be cool to sit down and talk to Carlos Santana.
Sure would.
You know?
Mhm.
I know you'd like that day. You know? And hopefully one day we'll get somebody like Eric Clapton.
Well, we could have him now.
Yeah, but it would cost us a fortune.
You know, the donation button needs to get red hot for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've looked into that one.
We have to ship a car out to the publicist for that one.
That's right.
So anyway, that's it. That's it for that.
Is it.
It's enough of the selling the show.
I wanted to bring up the point that, believe it or not, Ron Wood has been with the Stones, I think this week, 40 years.
Holy crap.
40 years. He's
40 years. We got to get him on the show.
Right.
Ron Wood would be awesome.
Right.
Any Stone.
Any Stone. I'll. You know what? I'd love to talk to Pierre.
Hey, well,
Pierre is Keith's guitar tech. Has been forever.
Oh,
there you go.
We got to make a phone call.
There you go. I think I could do that.
Okay.
But anyway, 40 years with the Stones.
40 years.
And I was just perusing a little article here, and I'm sure this is part of his biography. Everybody's got biographies out now. I really want to pick this one up too. But Ron Wood's got his biography out, and it makes mention in here when he was with the band The Byrds. Everybody thought that Pete Townsend was the first to have these, but actually,
High Watts?
No, real early on. Actually, Ron Wood, and supposedly, according to Ron, it was his suggestion to Jim Marshall to make louder amps and cabinets with 812s. Ron Wood actually had the first 812 Marshall cabinet.
Get out of here.
A month or so before Pete. Yep.
Wow, that's like an unsung hero type thing.
I know.
Like
I
a
know.
little nugget.
He said, we always used to keep telling Jim Marshall to make louder amps that went to 12. So he kept very complete diaries back in the day, and according to the dates in the diary, it was at least a month or two that he had his rig before the Who came out with theirs.
Now Pete did tell him cut it in half. They don't want to carry it.
Pete did that probably because he was going to lose roadies.
Yeah. But that's wild.
But it was Ron Wood's idea.
Wow.
I thought that was really interesting. I had not known that before.
Let me tell you something. That guy is kind of like, you know who he is, but I don't think he gets the credit that I think he deserves. That guy is an amazing player, first off.
Mm-hmm.
He is doing a ton of footwork behind Keith on those albums. You just take a listen. It's some serious guitar stuff going on there. You know where Keith is, and Keith is Keith.
Right.
I mean, he's one of the original guys.
Right.
And, but Ron is amazing. So when I was at the Crossroads show, they had Buddy Guy, Johnny Lang, and Ron Wood. And they were playing. And I just remember one of the funniest parts, one of the coolest parts was when Buddy Guy said, I'm really blessed to be up here with these really fine young gentlemen playing their guitars.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, it's absolutely a living legend
right.
saying those words. But he broke a string. Buddy Guy did.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Wood took his Strat off and, presented it to him. And Buddy said, I got a guy for that. And here comes the other guitar. Yeah.
I haven't been playing this long without finally getting a guy for that.
Exactly.
I mean, that dude he is one of the originals.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy Guy.
Oh, my God,
yeah. He is absolutely one of the original.
See, I keep saying who we should have on the air.
Originals.
That would be one that I would be like, well, okay, we can stop now.
Uh-huh.
We got Buddy Guy. His famous line is, I was looking for a dime and I found a quarter.
Right.
And talking about his career.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that is a very cool saying.
Yeah, once you have him on, anybody else is a newbie.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Cray, but You know.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do? After that,
and they're both still playing their ass off, man.
I know, it's crazy.
Music, it keeps you young.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, what's Buddy now? He's in his 80s.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, so I would, yeah.
Yeah.
How do we make that call?
Well, our guest today is not in their 80s.
No.
Not at all. I don't know half that, really.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay.
Much lower.
Good. See, I don't,
I'm not even going to make the guess.
And it's not polite to ask because it's Girl Power Day.
Once again.
It is Girl Power Day.
And it's the second half of a band, instrument, guitar-wise, not instrument-wise, but guitar-wise, we've already talked to her cohort.
Right. In Zepparella.
Yes.
In Zepparella.
They wear all white.
Ah.
You ever notice that? You ever see any of their videos?
You know that you mention it.
They're wearing all white. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
I like that.
And so this is the low end part of that band.
Yeah, her resume. Oof.
Oh yeah. She's playing with some smoking people.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with our guest of the week, Miss Angeline Saris.
Hey, this is Devin Allman.
Hey, this is Doug Rappaport here.
This is engineer extraordinaire Drew Mazurek.
Hi, this is Dwayne Betts.
Hey, what's up? This is Elliot Dean Rubinson, the boss that rocks.
Hey, everybody, this is Gary Hoey.
This is George Grimaldi from Sony ATV.
This is Greg Morris.
Hey, this is Greg Martin with the Kentucky Headhunters.
This is Gretchen Menn, the guitar player of Zepparella.
Howdy, folks. This is John Thomas Griffith.
This is Jason Sudeikis.
Hi, this is Joel Danzig.
This is John Harrington of the John Harrington Band.
Hi, this is John Palumbo.
Hey, this is Jude Gold from Jefferson Starship.
Hi, I'm Kevin Allen, a guitar tech for Slipknot.
Hello, this is Kurt McKim with the Pat Travers Band.
This is Kristen Capolino.
This is Keith Brewer from Barley Jews.
Hey, what's up? This is Marcus Henderson.
Hey, this is Mark Kendall from Great White.
I'm Matt Jones from the band Cowboy Mouth.
Hey, this is Michael Lardy from Great White.
Hi, this is Nicky Morrock, and you're listening to Amps and Axes.
All right, and we are back as promised, or even if we didn't promise, we're still back with our guest of the week, Miss Angeline Saris. Angeline, how are you?
I'm groovy. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great now.
Yes. Whenever we make the connection, we're so happy.
Yeah, totally. And it's a good one. So thank you for taking the time. You probably have a very busy schedule, and as we've researched, playing with some pretty big heavyweights, and we'll get into that. So thanks for taking the time and being on our cool little podcast here. So.
Well, the funny part, and this, we had her.
Okay.
We had one of her cohorts, which is
Gretchen,
who gave us the contact.
Yeah, love Gretchen,
and like a dozen other ones that we've had on the show.
Love Gretchen.
Oh yeah, Gretchen's great. It's fun to be in a band with her. We have a good fun. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm going to do what I always do because we and of course our audience would like to find out about the guests that we have on. So I'm gonna take you in the Wayback Machine and find out where Miss Angeline came from. Where did you grow up, and how did you wind up getting into this crazy music field, man? So tell us about yourself.
Oh, well, it's a funny story, I guess, kind of like everyone has. I grew up in California, Northern California in Marin County, and I started playing bass in a jazz band in high school. I was actually a frustrated clarinet player, I think like a lot of 8th graders are. And my teacher could tell that if he didn't engage me in something that I might be a problem student for him. So he was like, hey, do you want to play bass in the jazz band? And I thought that was pretty much the coolest thing ever. So I studied privately all year and then played in the jazz band. But I was kind of a hobbyist, actually, till I was about 25. I went to UC Berkeley for pre-law. I was a rhetoric major there.
Wow.
And I actually had an epiphany one day where I was like playing my bass and the sun broke through the clouds, and I thought to myself, I don't think I'm supposed to be a lawyer. I think I'm supposed to be a musician.
Yeah, I wonder how many lawyers there are that thought that and then just went, Nah, I'm going to be a lawyer.
Right? You know, when you have this guaranteed, thing where you get out of law school and you're going to probably make, 6 figures or something. And then, or you have this thing where you're like, well, I could ride the roller coaster of figuring out what it would be like to be a musician. And I totally did that, actually. After the epiphany, I ignored it for about a year and a half, but it became really obvious. I graduated. I decided instead of going to law school, I'll save the $300,000 and work at a law firm to make sure that I really want to pursue this career. And sure enough, I worked at these law firms in San Francisco, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not for me. These people seem miserable. No offense to lawyers, sorry. But just people didn't seem happy, and for me, it wasn't a good fit. So that was sort of the realization that I had to adhere to the epiphany. And I moved to LA, and I was sort of taking music classes. I was still in denial. I was collecting all these music school pamphlets and kind of putting them underneath my bed, and then taking them out at night and reading them.
Wow!
like they were some kind of illicit material or something.
That's hilarious.
And then it was pretty funny. I was in total denial, and then I went to what do you call it, like an open house at Musicians Institute, and I was like, oh my gosh, these people get to play bass all day, and that was and they had a drawing actually where you could put your name in a hat, and if they pulled it out at the end of the day, you won a free year's tuition.
Wow.
And yeah, I was like, oh, so I remember going through the whole day and being so amped up, and then they pulled the name out of the hat, and I was on the edge of my chair, and it wasn't my name. And I got my Ford Ranger and drove back to Manhattan Beach, where I was living at the time, and sobbed like the entire drive from Hollywood to Manhattan Beach. And that was when I realized that I had a pretty severe case of denial, and that kind of began my music career, and that was about 25. So.
Wow, very cool.
That's wild.
Anyone in your family musical? I mean, did the music gene get passed down, or was this just, you were the first?
I was kind of the first to really pursue it on a professional level. I mean, my mother listened to a lot of classical music around the house, and I grew up dancing, ballet and stuff. And my dad liked jazz, but nobody actually played.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, were there any lawyers in your family?
No, thankfully. No. No lawyers.
Oh, good. So you didn't disappoint anyone by doing one or and not the other. So that's cool.
So it's safe to say that half of Zepparella has like 480 for an IQ. I mean, between you and Gretchen, you don't go to law school and not know anything.
Right. Oh,
right.
God.
Well, yeah. Gretchen's a smart cookie for sure. Actually, all the girls, it's great. Everyone in the band, it's nice to have a group of girls that are really on their shit,
That's cool. That is cool. So, did you wind up going to MI eventually?
I totally didn't. I signed a lease for a place in Hollywood, and then I sort of freaked out. I was like, wait a second, I don't have any money. I was very self-supportive my whole life, and I said, I'm going to move home and save for 6 months, and then I'll come back in the fall and start in the fall instead of the spring. So I moved back up to North Cal and boomeranged back to my mom's house as like a 25-year-old, which was totally, I don't know. I don't do so much about that.
It's what all the kids are doing now.
Well, it's like a cramp in everybody's style.
Right, exactly. I'm sure my mom was not thrilled. But no, she's actually been really supportive throughout my whole career.
That is good.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice not to have to convince a parent to support your career.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did they react to you dropping out of law school?
Well, actually, I never actually started going to law school. I finished my undergrad in pre-law and then sort of put off going to law school. But they've always been really supportive, I think, because I've always been a self-starter. I've got good grades, and I put kind of an unduly amount of pressure on myself for no reason. And if anything, my mom was like, it's okay if you get a B in school.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, no. Total perfectionist.
Shut up, Mom.
Right. Leave me alone. I'm studying.
Right.
But so I think she wasn't really worried about me. She was like, whatever you do, I know you'll put your heart into it.
It sounds like they knew you were going to succeed, whatever direction you went in.
Whether it's
that's cool.
Musician or, running a grocery store or something, you're going to be successful.
Right.
That's actually next on the list.
Yeah, there you
go. So we went from high school jazz band to not law school, not MI.
Well, we got to find out the bass that she got, her first bass.
Yes, yeah. But I was going to ask, like, who did you start playing with, and how did that come about?
Right. Well, I played, like I said, all through high school, and then even all at UC Berkeley, where I went to college. I was always involved in, like, they had a program called UC Jazz there, which was kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the music program. It wasn't affiliated with the actual music department. You couldn't get any credit for taking the classes. Like,
really?
It was pure.
Wow.
Yeah, it was totally a labor of love, and it was in the basement of, like, this one building. It was just so funny. I think they're better about that now, from what I hear. But so I took Latin jazz there, and big band and small combos. So I was always sort of involved in music, even as a hobbyist, and then played in funk bands. And but then when I moved back up here after the whole MI incident, I just started taking, like, one gig. I took a jazz trio gig, and somebody heard me play, and that turned into 2 gigs, and then 2 turned into 4, and I never ended up going back to MI or to school for music at all, because I just became a gigging musician instead.
Wow.
Now you said you before the high school jazz band, you studied for the year. I'm assuming I don't know, did you know any music before that, and did you learn? Is that when you learned to read and know theory, or do you even? I don't know.
Yeah, I do read and I do know theory. I mean, you can't play jazz without.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Theory, and then of course in school I played steel pan in 6th grade. That was really cool. I wish I had actually not moved to clarinet and kept with that, because, like, man, Jamaican drums are just beautiful sound and really cool. So that was when I started really the musical thing, and then learning to read 7th and 8th grade in the concert bands. And then I studied with this guy named D'Artagnan Brown, who's he's a fantastic bass player. He's still out on the scene. And then his son, Jameo Brown's actually this highly acclaimed, like, New York drummer who's played with all sorts of fantastic people. And we were in the jazz band together in high school. So anyway, so he was my teacher, and I studied with him for a year, and he gave me actually the first thing he did was he gave me was it anthropology? And he told me to go home and write a bass line for it, which, like, as a beginning bass student, it's like, it's pretty meaty assignment in retrospect. I kind of laugh at it.
But you did it, right?
I did. I came back, and it was theoretically correct, but it was not the most musical bass line. But hey, I did it. I think it was kind of his test to see if I was, if I was serious or not.
If you had the tenacity to continue.
Right. Like, yeah, let me give her giant steps and see if she comes back for the second lesson.
Well, hey, obviously you did. Yeah. What gear-wise, what bass were you playing at that point? Do you remember what your first bass was, and was that still the one, or?
I do still have that bass. I don't play it as much anymore, but it's a 1979 Music Man Sabre. So a lot of people have the Stingrays, but the Sabres have the double humbuckers, and yeah, it's cool. It's a great bass.
And it weighs 42 pounds.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
Really?
It's like
Yeah.
so heavy. It's kind of brutal. Yeah.
It's like, is it made out of wood, or did they throw lead in there? Right. Because you go over to one of those things and you're like, this weighs more than a car.
Well, lead sustains better.
Exactly. The notes kind of just, they roll off.
Right.
Right. They talk about brown notes, yeah.
For sure. So when did you replace that, and what did you replace it with?
I replaced it with my main axe now that I still just am looking at on the couch next to me. It's the Fender Jazz American Deluxe FMT, and it's a 2003.
It's got a flame top on it.
Yep. It's kind of a mix. It's like, am I a quilt or am I a flame? I'm not sure.
Well, you know what? I could be wrong. But I know it has a veneer top on it. Okay. Right? It has a top on it. And so it looks like a jazz bass, but it doesn't have the pickguard.
Nope. No, they did a series between 2003 and 2007 where they released this kind of one without the pick guards and the gold hardware and all that.
It's like a fancier version.
Cool.
Aesthetically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rhonda. I think Rhonda Smith has like, I don't know, but I've seen the pictures. It looks like we got the same piece.
Interesting. Yeah, we just breezed past a video of her before we started the show. It was when she was doing the Jeff Beck Crossroads thing.
Well, that's because we were looking up the other gentleman. I can't pronounce his name.
Narada Michael Walden.
There you
go.
Narada.
Right.
Narada toured with Jeff for like 4 years.
Yeah. And he was on the Crossroads video that we had seen.
I was at that show.
Yeah, killer.
In Chicago.
Show. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Was it a good show?
That was the craziest day ever for shows because it was like you wanted to go to the bathroom, but every guy that came up, you were like, oh, wait a minute.
I can't leave now.
And they had a rotating stage, so they never took a break.
Right.
It was like that guy was finishing, here comes another band. All right. And Bill Murray comes out in some goofy outfit and starts a band. I'm like, we're never going to pee.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, no.
and if you don't drink, you're going to pass out.
Yeah.
So,
right. It was like 100. Remember, it was it was on my birthday. I actually called Jeff from there, and we had a conversation. And I was under a tent that was raining water. It was spraying water. It was one of those rain tents.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Made famous in Disneyland, I'm sure.
Yes. It was nice under there.
Right.
I had that same experience when I saw John Paul Jones with this guy, C6 Steve, at Hardly Strictly Bluegrass here in San Francisco. I was in the front row, like I had my elbows on the stage, and I'm looking at John Paul Jones, but I had to go to the bathroom so fast. It was one of those things where I was like, I can't leave, but I was like so uncomfortable.
I really am going to pass out.
Right.
I can't leave this spot.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So let's go. 1 gig turned into 2, 2 turned into 4. When did you come up with a gig that you went, wow, this is going to be awesome?
Let me think about that.
Wow, it sounds like it's. I guess that you've done so much with so many. It's kind of hard to think of your first one, I guess.
It is, and I think also the first thing that came to mind when you asked me that is it's truly my perspective on my gigs is that I treat the gig at the local bar down the street with my buddies, the same way that I treat going out, with Narada. I find, they're both important. I want to be equally prepared for both, and I want to come out and, play my ass off for both just as much, I don't really differentiate. And sure, there have been some gigs that are just hitting harder or really awesome, but, it's just, I just don't differentiate that way. If that makes sense.
No, that's
actually
great.
A good way to be.
That's a fantastic mindset to have. I'm just going to kill it every single time I go out. Everybody should.
There's a story. And I know this is going to sound funny, but there's a Twisted Sister story.
Okay.
And Dee Snider,
sounds funny.
The king of stories.
Yeah.
The best one though, that will be told later. But he said that he was talking to somebody, and they were getting ready to play Madison Square Garden, and it was Vince Neil. And he was like, oh, man, I got to do the Garden again. He was actually complaining that they had to go play Madison Square Garden. And Dee said...
Oh, poor you.
Yeah.
Dee said, hey, man, you can quit because it only makes room for us. And he said, and that's why Twisted Sister, in their heyday, even today, I mean, they still kind of go at it when they go out. Mm-hmm. You were kind of... Even though it was the cheesiest music on the planet and they were dressed like whatever they were dressed like, they gave you that show because it was like whether it was 50 people or 500,000, they just did it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that followed that band was like, hey, don't knock them until you see them because they're actually very good live. You know?
Oh yeah. He's a serious guy about that.
He
really is.
Yeah, he puts it all out there. You know, so
and he's another one. Always has been straight as an arrow.
Yep.
You know, doesn't drink, doesn't do anything. He just goes out there and entertains the shit out of people.
And that's that's what you sign up for.
Right.
You know,
he made a career out of it. You know, so.
Well,
Good
it's
on
true.
him.
I think, it's really about, you got to be in it for the music, I mean, because, you can sit there and go, oh, I want to be, famous or something, but it's like, I want to make a lot of money. It's like, do you realize the percentage of like musicians that actually attain that level? It's so small, and you're never going to really enjoy what you're doing unless you're there for the right reasons.
Well, I was going to say, she's always smiling. Like all the videos, all the photos, she's always got a big smile. So either you're psychotic or you're having a good time.
Probably a little both. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we found out from one guy in Blackberry Smoke. He goes, "I'm nervous."
Oh yeah.
And we were like, okay. We didn't know what this. It was like, sorry to hear that. You're nervous all the time.
No. Smile when I'm nervous. That's hilarious. Yeah, but you really have to think about the fact that it should just make you happy and smile just for the fact that if you're up there doing that, you're actually a musician. You're one of the few people in the world, percentage-wise, that's actually a musician, and you get to do this, to perform with other musicians, because you obviously all love music, and you get to do it, hopefully, for people that appreciate it. I mean, wow, you got to go back to the same place and do it again? Yeah. I'm sorry.
So what I'm going to do is
Doesn't hold water.
I'm going to send my bio sheet to every musician out there, and then they're all going to start smiling when they see what I go through on a daily basis.
Well, you don't have to send it to Angeline because she smiles every damn day.
Absolutely.
So.
See?
Aw, I can hear it. You can tell when someone's smiling in their voice.
Good.
Yeah,
for sure. It's all right. So, how did you get hooked up with Nardia?
Narada, yeah.
Narada. I'm sorry.
I know, it's funny. I didn't know if it was Narada or Narada.
Yeah, I've been saying Narada all day.
Right. I mean, I've heard both versions. I think I asked him when I first kind of met him, but
probably the best thing to do.
Right. Let me just
he could have went by his middle name.
Right. A little easier.
Well, it's funny. His name is actually Michael Walden, but he and Carlos and John McLaughlin, Carlos Santana and John McLaughlin.
Oh, they all adopted those names.
Right. They had this Guru Sri Chinmoy, who they became obviously really into, I think, in the late 70s, and he gave them their guru names.
Mm-hmm.
I think Santana's is Devadip, and I can't remember what McLaughlin's is, but yeah, Carlos is Narada, and he kept his. So, yeah.
Well, there you
go. I knew McLaughlin's too. I can't remember it though, and I just finished the Santana biography, which was great.
Oh, really?
Oh
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
You know what? I'm reading one now that's really funny. He seems to be a really funny guy, although quite a bit of philanderer. But Rod Stewart's is so funny.
It has to be.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
I'd love to read his.
Well, I'll send you my copy.
Okay, awesome. You know what album I'm totally addicted to right now is the Truth album with Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck on it.
Oh yeah.
I am like loving that album so much right now. It feels kind of Zeppelin-y at times too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's kind of Zeppelin-y because they all came from the same school. Page and Beck and Clapton all came from the Ardbird School. You know, so that's where that all started. And
right, I guess that makes sense.
They're all connected there. So,
do you think in 40 or 50 years there'll be a conversation where somebody goes, "Yeah, I just went back and listened to Avenged Sevenfold," and
I was thinking that. I think that often. I'm like, what music from this decade or from the last even 2 decades is going to persist over time? Because I trying to figure it out. I mean, obviously maybe Adele and Amy Winehouse and but I can't. I don't know. I ask that question myself a lot.
I'd be okay with somebody going back and revisiting Avenged Sevenfold or bands like that, as long as it's not Bieber. I got to draw the line there. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
All right, so let's get back to.
We do this table thing all the time.
Yeah, I know we do this all the time. So the adopted name of Michael, and how did you guys hook up? How did that happen?
Yeah, so actually, it's funny. When I was in high school, Narada's very involved in youth programs here in the Bay Area, particularly in Marin, and my jazz band played at his house. This beautiful home in Tiburon, and we did like a performance there. So I met him very briefly when I was 16, and then of course about what's it been 4 years ago, he got done with the Jeff Beck tour with Rhonda, and he decided he wanted to start his own project, and he asked his good friend Vernon, who plays with Booker T, the guitar player, and Vernon and I have known each other for a long time. He said, hey, I need a good bass player. And I think maybe the idea of wanting to play with a female bass player, because he had been playing with Rhonda, came up too. I think he liked that. So Vernon recommended me because he knew me from the scene. And so Narada called me in, and I was like, ah! Like, oh my God! And I remember thinking like, oh, there's no amount of practicing I can do in the next, 24 hours. Like help. So I just have to be at peace with exactly where I am and, this in my skill level right now. And so we went in, and I think it went decently. I don't think I blew him out of the water, but I think he got the understanding I could play and stuff, and loved it, and was, the real deal on that level. And so he invited me back to jam a few more times, and it was just drums and bass. And then, no. That was it. Actually, it was the first time we jammed. I guess it did go well, because then he said, can you go home and learn Cosmic Strut, Visions of the Emerald Beyond, and Sophie, and what's the other one? Lead Boots, which I actually knew Lead Boots. And there was, cool. What's the other one? I'm forgetting, some other fusion tune. And so I said, okay, sure. So I went home and learned them all and practiced them, obsessively. And I think I had 5 days, and he said, come next Tuesday. So I show next Tuesday, and Frank Martin, who's a great keys player, and Matt Hewlett, his guitar player, were there. And we cut the album Rising Sun.
Well.
I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is a good sign. We're recording. Like, he likes me. I'm in the band.
I love the quote on her page, though. Have you seen the quote from him?
No, I don't think so.
He says, Angeline is brilliant. I met her when she was 16, and she was bad. He says, she's magnificent now, grounded and funky, flair and bottom, Beauty and the Beast.
Nice.
Aww.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
So 16 and you were playing with him. Or did you just meet then?
No, just played at his house. I don't think he sat in with us. I think I would remember that. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. So, he probably didn't want to put you under any more pressure. Like, hey, learn these tunes. By the way, when you come back, we're going to knock out an album,
Right. He was sneaky like that. I'm like, God, I'm glad I should have prepared. And that's not easy stuff. I'm like, Cosmic Strut's in like 9, Mm-hmm. My God. So, yeah.
That's great. That's great.
It's a gift to play with him. He's such a monster on drums. And then he's really like a mentor to me. He's super positive. He only says things to build up, never to knock down.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been a real heavy but beautiful blessing in my life, So.
That's great, man. I mean, more people should be like that. Ow.
Say that again? Sorry, you cut out.
No, I said more people should be like that. It's
yeah.
You just beat people down all the time. It really doesn't accomplish anything, But if you can appreciate them for what they can do or did do,
mm-hmm.
It just makes people want to do more and want to do better. A beat down doesn't really fix anything.
No, you don't really get much when you're, knocking heads all the time.
Yeah, it's like Frank Sinatra throwing guys off the bus.
No, that was Buddy Guy. Wasn't it Buddy Guy?
You're right. It was Buddy Guy.
Frank did too.
Not Buddy Guy. I'm sorry. Not Buddy Rich.
Buddy Rich.
Jeez.
No, that's right.
Where the hell am I? Yeah, it's
Buddy.
Buddy.
I think it was Buddy Rich. It wasn't Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, it wasn't Frank Sinatra or Buddy Guy.
It wasn't. It was Frank Rich. It was Frank Rich. That's who it was. Oh my God!
Yeah,
I'm freaking brain dead. I swear to God.
It's been a hard week, and it's Wednesday.
Holy shit!
Oh, it's something in the air because I feel the same way. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
So what were you? What bass were you playing when you cut this? Was it the Fender at that point, or?
Yeah. That's pretty much my. I mean, I have a Sadowski 5 and I have a P bass too, and a handful of other ones. But this is my go-to.
That's your baby, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the only bass she has in every video. And, that you see that bass.
You make me feel so bored.
Well, no, that says something because, you get some guys, especially guitar players, they'll have like, I got 58 guitars,
right.
And they're using everything on everything.
To a song.
Yeah, which it works, but, when you got an instrument that you really like, those number ones are kind of hard to replace.
And wait a minute, that album what was the title of that album?
That was Rising Sun. So we've done 2, and we're actually just about to release a 3rd. But that one was the more fusion album with 4 tracks on it. And then we had another one called Thunder, which is more kind of like a swampy funk.
That's the one I was thinking of, Thunder.
Yeah, that's the one that sounds a little Hendrixy.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And I saw, well, actually, because he was probably home and just came over to the club, but I saw a video of where Carlos came in and sat in with you guys, which is so cool because I mean he's in San Rafael, so he probably just went out for a drink.
Yeah, well, he and Narada are old friends, so I see him bopping around a lot, but there was actually a little bit of planning in that. Narada called me one morning and he said, "Can you come down to the studio?" And I was like, "Of course," and he said, "Good, you're going to meet Carlos today." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
I'll shower.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. And I remember being like in the shower and washing my hair and thinking, "Wow, like today's the day I'm going to meet Carlos Santana and play music with him, like today." And it was that same thing with the Nardo. Like, there's no amount of practice I can do in the next 20 minutes that's going to change anything at all.
Yeah, it's one thing to meet Carlos Santana, but you're going to be playing with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. I got down there, and sure enough, he walked in. We listened to some cool. It was like some Middle Eastern kind of metal band that he was into, and we were all listening to it. And then Narada was like, "Oh, well, let's go out and jam it." And so, sure enough, all of a sudden, and I'm like thinking to myself, "Okay, like ear training and all the. How much of this piece can I just download into my brain right now?" And sure enough, we all went out. We ended up jamming for about an hour together, and just as a trio, it was really super cool experience. And then we kind of picked the songs, and then he came in and sat in for, I think, was it 4 songs on that gig? It's cool.
Nice.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It was a great experience.
It's just a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday in San Rafael.
Yeah,
But have you been touring a lot with Narada?
Not this year. He had a child. He had a second child this year, so he was doing that.
He had a child.
February. Pardon me?
He's like 63, right?
This is correct.
Wow. Oh.
Well, slow down there, Mick. He didn't personally have it.
No. He's funding it.
Really famous. Yeah, he's funding it for sure.
Wow. Well, he's had a big few years since I've known him. He got married and he had a first child, and then they went ahead and had a second. So I think he's loving it. I don't think he ever really planned to, do the fatherhood thing, but he's really totally head over heels in love with his children, as I think everybody is once they have them. They're like, oh, it's, I don't know if you guys have kids. I don't.
Oh yeah, we do.
I do. Yeah. We do.
Yeah. So I guess that's the way it goes. Yeah,
that's the way it goes when they're little.
Oh yeah, how old are your kids?
Who wants to go first?
You can go first.
You go first?
Yeah, you go first.
21 and 28.
And then
okay.
I have a 20, a 17, and a 14. And let me tell you, 14 is the magic number. It's where the opinions come at you, and there's no regard for your feelings. And you just got to bite, grin and bear it and go, I love you, and then just walk out of the room. So that
you go, why are you still not 3?
You were really cute when I was changing your diaper.
3. Right, exactly.
I have an auntie. My sister has a 9 and 11-year-old, and they're at the age where she's still cool. My mom and dad are still fun and cool, and I was like, well, you should enjoy it because they're going to hate you in about 3 years, all the way till they're like, in their 20s or something.
It's true, but you know what? You're still going to be the cool aunt.
Yeah,
I know. I love it that way.
That's right. Aunts, uncles, grandparents got it made.
Oh, absolutely. Just hand them back.
Totally. Sugar them up and hand them back.
Right? There you go.
Remember that. So what's, when you were touring, what is, and we always get into real and virtual kind of thing. What's your touring rig look like?
Touring rig? Well, it depends on the band. And actually, I should say about that, we toured Japan for 2 weeks and we did some stuff in the States. We're actually going out again in about 2 weeks to New York. We're playing the Iridium.
Wow. Nice.
And then we've got a new booking agent, and we're actually going to be kind of hitting it hard next year. So just to kind of throw that in, he's back on the tour front, so it'll be fun. Cool. But so for that rig, for that gig, I end up doing I have a 410 Fender Rumble series that I use, and then a 500 watt head. Like the Rumble, little micro head, weighs like 5 pounds, but it's so beastly. I can't even put that thing to 12 o'clock. Wow. It acts like it's a Marshall stack or something. It's like
wow, that's pretty cool.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's pretty cool. And do you run any floor pedals or anything?
Oh yeah. I have a whole series of pedals. I think with that rig, I use mostly the pork loin. Sometimes I'll use an MXR envelope. A fuzz pedal by this guy. It's called Watson. It's kind of random. But I bring stuff out.
And is it the same rig for Zepparella?
No. Zepparella gets the 810 Super Bassman Pro with the 300 watt Super Bassman Pro head.
Nice.
That is cool.
Yeah.
But the same bass, right?
Yeah, sometimes with Zepparella, I'll bring the P, sometimes I'll bring the J, and then, of course, for some of the fretless songs, I have a fretless bass that I bring out if we're not flying in. If we fly in, I just bring one bass. But,
okay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you, Jeff. She plays upright bass, too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's some pictures of her where she's playing upright bass, and I'm just like, well, there you go.
Rhonda's got nothing on her.
That is you kind of fit the whole thing. You could,
totally.
From one end to the other, you got the bass thing wrapped up.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah. I don't think Billy Sheehan can play fretless. I heard him in an interview the other day. He said, I tried it, and it wasn't for me.
Fretless?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, really? So.
Well, when you make your own bass and scallop the upper frets, you don't need to really do anything else. Then you play like Billy Sheehan.
Yeah, he bends notes. He bends strings like a guitar player. So.
Yeah, oh my God, addicted to that Rush, that whole
it's crazy.
line in that with the bending and everything. Oh, it's so bad.
And I love that you've got a fuzz too, because I love fuzz on a bass. I love some dirt behind it. It's just so cool.
Just big and hairy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah. I love actually that. I did a gig last night just with this drummer. We do kind of this duo project where we're just kind of messing around right now, but the phase and the fuzz, like kind of Larry Graham, just beastly. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
that combo is one of my favorite, phase fuzz.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Larry Graham. Did you ever do any funk stuff? Ever have a project that was all Bootsy or Larry Graham or esque?
I haven't. I mean, I've done gigs where we've touched on some of those songs, but they're more like, mixed bag of songs, and one or two of those are thrown in. But I was just thinking after this gig last night, I was like, you know what? Like, I want to start a band where I do that, because I ended up doing almost all slap last night. Like all kind of, Larry Graham, all kind of that. I mean, he's probably my favorite slap player ever. So I'd like to kind of maybe get involved in something like that.
We got a
very
guy
soon.
We got a guy that lives really close to you.
We got a guy,
Mr. Jude Gold.
I love Jude.
Yeah.
Jude is a funk master.
That's true.
Yeah, he's been on this show. We talked to him.
Yeah,
he's a good friend of ours. So yeah, that would be interesting. You guys probably live near each other.
Well, he's in LA now, I think. But
he might be.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's down there.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he is down in L.A. That is right. That's not exactly. That's like an hour.
He was doing the MI thing for a long time.
Yeah,
It still does, doesn't he?
I think he's still involved with that. Of course, Guitar Player magazine.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
I think
looks like you're moving back to L.A.
I'm contemplating it sometimes, but yeah. Tell Jude I'm on my way.
There you go.
Now, I wanted to ask your video, Black Strap Molasses.
Yes.
Okay. What is? Are you using an envelope on the beginning of that? Or is that like some kind of pog thing? Is it just that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Just a little fuzzy.
Little fuzzy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a neat video too, and obviously we're going to ask you about the airplane jump. How many times did you do that? Just once?
Twice in a row, back to back. Like landed, got right back in the plane, and did it again.
I was going to say, because there's parts where you have a mask on, and then there's parts where you don't. And I was like, what if the mask came flying off?
No.
Like when you were.
No, we did one run without him, and then the next one I made everybody put on these Mexican wrestling masks. The pilot had it on, the videographer,
it's pretty cool.
Everyone. It was pretty hilarious, actually.
Now, one last question about that video.
Mm-hmm.
Right before you jump out of the plane, on the actual video, not the behind the scenes thing, but on the actual video, do you kiss the guy that's on your tandem?
No.
It looks like you give him a kiss and then you jump out of the plane like, save me.
Save me. It's really cute, but in my mind somewhere I did. But no, I don't think we swapped any spit before the jump. Yeah.
It looked like you just turned to him and kissed him on the cheek or something, and then out the plane you went.
Oh, that's funny. I have to look back on that. Not to my recollection, but I was also 13,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Totally nervous. I could have done something I forgot about.
Me personally, I'd be bending over kissing my ass goodbye.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty insane when you're up there. Like, wow, what am I doing? But have you guys skydived before?
No.
I was going to say, you've obviously had to have done it before, right?
No, that's the first time.
Really? Well.
Two tandem jumps back to back.
Wow.
If it didn't go right the first time, you just feel like, forget it.
Well, you're not doing a second if it didn't go right the first time.
We got enough.
Wow.
No room for error. Yeah, it was funny because I was preparing so much for, when you kind of do your own video and produce it and all this stuff, there's just so many things that go into it. And I was running around like a mad woman that week, organizing shoots and getting extras together for the other stuff and, just all these elements. And then all of a sudden it occurred to me like Thursday night, I was like, oh my God, I'm skydiving tomorrow morning, 7 in the morning. Like, holy shit.
Holy crap, I'm jumping. I have a perfectly good airplane tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. Nothing I do in the next 20 minutes is going to change that. It's like, forget all these auditions. I'm jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. Yeah, that's wow.
Exactly.
That is a crazy video, that whole concept and all behind it, because I've watched it a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
First, what's wild is there's no guitar players. It's just a keyboard player and a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And
a bass player.
And a bass player,
right?
Yes. Well,
that's a form of guitar. It's a form of guitar.
But you know what I mean.
True.
So, but the whole, just the other parts of it, I was like, well, this is just very confusing. So I just,
Well, then you have to watch it again to see if you missed something.
That's old guy watching the video.
Right.
It is kind of random, and I guess the way that a lot of videos can be random. You're like, oh, now they're in a desert spray painted in gold and gyrating for the camera. Like, of course. Yeah, but
I don't put it past those guys. See, those guys walked around with socks on their junk.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know exactly. Look, I got a 20-year-old daughter. Believe me, Red Hot Chili Peppers have been in my house forever. But, this is the other end of the spectrum here, unless you got a serious drug problem.
Right. Yeah. No, it's, it's funny. I just had this vision that I loved Mexican wrestling masks. I just think they're goofy and weird and scary, but kind of funny in a weird way. And I had this... Where the hell did the idea come from? I think I just had an idea that, blackstrap molasses was basically this magical elixir that would sort of allow you to rid yourself of your fears. And so if you're in the beginning of the video, there's all these people in line and they all have these sort of beauty, pageant type things across their chest, and each one lists their fear.
Okay.
And I let each one of them kind of write what they wanted, which was really cool. I had, young kids and old people and all different walks and they came up with some pretty cool things to funny stuff like spiders, to really deep things like failure and, stuff like that. And so then the whole thing would be like, when you put on the mask, it sort of allows you to, to kind of hide behind a mask, which is why people wear masks. So they have a certain level of freedom and, not being accountable for actions, and they can kind of let themselves free. And so the jumping out of the plane sort of relates to that. And then the part, where people are like rocking out the masks on and all that. So it's kind of vague in some ways. And, it was the first video I ever did and have so far ever done. And retrospectively, I think there are ways that it could have certainly been more put together, both lyrically and idea-wise. But, that's all part of the process. That's like when you're an artist and you're creating and you're paying for it and doing it yourself and organizing everything, it kind of just becomes what it is. And
there has to be a learning curve to it, you know?
It also tells me why I never went to law school.
Wait, what do you mean?
I don't know. I didn't get that one.
No, because I did not get it. I didn't see that. And now that she explains it to me, I feel like an idiot.
It makes perfect sense, right?
Yes, exactly.
Wow. You're not the first, so don't feel bad.
No, but you're 99 cents richer or whatever iTunes pays you, because I bought the single today because I wanted to hear that beginning.
Oh, cool.
And the video, I guess it does it, but the actual song, I think, is a little bit longer, isn't it, than the video?
No, I think they should be the same.
I thought for some reason
maybe
I thought
it just comes in differently. Maybe the mix is different.
Plus, I can listen to it about 1,000 times in the car.
That's true. That's true.
And I was listening to the beginning. I was like, "That's pretty cool."
I frown on you when you watch YouTube's driving.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
It makes texting look like kids' work.
Right.
I was watching YouTube and then kind of taking a nap while I was on the freeway.
Those cars are coming.
Yeah, I was going to say those cars are coming. It would be like, I'm going to work. I'm going to get in the fetal position in the back.
Right.
Right.
And they just have the seat vibrate when you get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Done.
Cool and scary,
Exactly. Right.
So during all this time with Narada, when did the Zepparella thing happen?
That's a very good question. Actually, it all happened right at the same time. And it was interesting because I had this weird health issue about maybe 5 years ago now, where I had this thing called thoracic outlet syndrome. And a lot of musicians and athletes get it. It's when you have your arm over your head for an extended period of time. It's like swimmers and weightlifters, baseball players will get it, and then guitar players too. What it does is it cuts off what's called the thoracic outlet, which is all the veins that run down your arm. It cuts that off. By cutting it off for long periods of time, it ends up creating a blood clot.
Oh.
And so I woke up one morning after a really heavy practice day, and like my arm was swollen, and I'm a total hate going to doctors. And so I was like, oh, whatever, it'll be fine. And just, like 11 days later, my arm, it was so big I like couldn't even fit it into a jacket. And I kind of realized that I couldn't avoid whatever was happening. And
which arm was it? Your left or your right?
The left, the one that would go, kind of up above your head, or above your shoulder to play,
I see.
One. Yeah, and so it was really challenging. I mean, they found out I had a blood clot, and they didn't know if it was like a blood, an actual blood disorder. They didn't know anything at that point. They just put me on blood thinners, which are like terrible, and it was a really scary time. And anyway, what ended up happening is I ended up finding out through a series of doctors that I had thoracic outlet syndrome and that I could actually fix this by just having my first rib removed. So,
wow.
Yeah. So I did. I have it actually at home here, and I want to eventually get it inlaid into a base at some point.
Oh,
but creepy and gross, but cool.
Wow, all of the above. It's creepy and cool. Wow.
So you're like Adam.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to call it Adam's rib, like the base or something, or Eve.
There you go. Wow.
But yeah, so that actually spurred I kind of backed up in relation to a question, but that whole episode of just having, I think when you realize that you're not invincible, you get humbled, and then you become, it just made me really grateful for what I had, and also made me like kind of dump a lot of stuff that wasn't working for me, and also put me in touch with like my dreams and my abilities. And if I really want to be the bass player I want to be, I need to put in this level of time and this level of seriousness. And I started doing this 108 days of practice thing, and studying with this guy Kayak Hart, who actually played with McLaughlin. And I got it just changed everything for me. And it was right around that time that actually that's when I met Narada, and when the Zepparella thing happened. And I was actually thinking of moving to LA because I thought that would be a good career step. And then like Narada called the next day, and then Gretchen called me and asked me if I wanted to join Zepparella, and it just made sense for me to stay.
Wow.
That was after Gretchen was Agnes Young. I still laugh every time I think of that.
That's great. Did you watch videos of her doing that? Isn't it cute?
It's pretty interesting. I think the Zepparella thing is so much better.
Yeah.
It just conveys so much better. That band still is going, right? The AC/DC.
Yeah, AC/DC, I think they are, but I think they're really selective about the gigs they take, and they gig very rarely now.
Yeah, it doesn't have the thing behind it, that it did.
Well,
Right.
and if it's a band, like a lot of bands that they made a name for themselves, but they kind of disbanded or fragmented it, but they get back together every once in a while. Usually makes for a really successful gig. You put the band back together once a year or twice a year or something.
Sure.
It's usually a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, precisely. I think that's their MO.
Yeah. Why not? They just break away and do a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So you're
like play with Santana.
Yeah. Did you play with McLaughlin as well, or
no?
No, you've never played with him. Okay.
Not yet. Maybe someday. Who knows?
Oh, I'm sure. And not yet's a great answer. That is the answer you want to give. Not yet.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So you're going out with, I guess Zepparella is still doing some stuff, but you're going out with, God, I keep forgetting, Narada. Next, did you say next year?
No, well, in November we're doing about a week out on the East Coast, and then next year there's plans for Europe, possibly in a U.S. tour, but nothing's booked yet. It's just all kind of, we're doing this showcase in New York, and then going to kind of build off of that.
Oh, cool. And did you say another album's in the works?
Yeah, Narada has it's called Evolution, and I think it is available but not technically released yet. I'm like, am I allowed to say this? Yes, okay.
You get that phone call. Do not put that in there.
Right. I'm sorry. Yes, I believe it's available on iTunes, but there's no technical official release yet. but it's called Evolution, and it was inspired by the birth of his 2 children, and it's definitely more along the kind of pop dance element of things, because Narada did a lot of that. He did Mariah Carey and Aretha Franklin.
We saw all that stuff. It was like, whew.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a bio.
Yeah, a little bit of a resume there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, it's wild when you walk into a studio. All the walls are covered in gold records, and you just look at them, and it's like the OJs, and like Elton John, and it's just like, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, he's been around a minute. So it's not like the first album. It's not like the second album. It's evolving.
Right. It's evolving, and I think it also harps back to what I was saying is his love for that, for that pop dance style that he really was successful at doing with, Whitney and all those artists back then. So it's on that line more.
Now, is it just the core band, or are there guests?
Mostly the core band. There are a few guests on there.
Cool. I was just thinking maybe Carlos just showed up and dropped some tracks on there.
Jeff is a big Carlos fan.
I love Carlos. I love Carlos.
Okay, that makes sense. No Carlos. But.
Okay, well that's cool. Well, our listeners should still go out and purchase it anyway.
Yeah, and you got to understand, he played with Whitney Houston when Whitney Houston was the biggest thing on the planet.
Yeah, when you couldn't get any bigger.
Yeah. I mean, that was insane time for Whitney Houston. So, and like when you see these videos and he's in them, you're going, I remember that. Because Mick Jagger, he played with Mick Jagger, and what else was in there? It was so many people. And of course, Clive Davis and Quincy Jones. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are not
no
guys
wonder why he's got a couple of gold records hanging on his wall, And hey, maybe this next one's gonna get you a gold record too.
There you go.
Aww. Hey, you can always dream and shoot for the stars.
Absolutely. Well, you got a dream.
Yeah. You do.
You do. So, endorsements. I should ask you about endorsements so you can, plug the people that possibly endorse you. Any endorsements?
Yeah. Actually, a handful of them that I'm super thankful for, and I feel just. Whoops. Hello.
Yes,
we're here.
Okay, sorry, I got crackly again. I got scared.
Sounds fun.
So GHS Strings, a lot of them, they're like family to me, and I play mostly their Boomer series. Sometimes they'll mix it up, and so that's that. And then Fender. Fender is just it just blew my mind. I remember I got an email from the senior vice president of global relations. He said, "Oh, we saw your ad in Bass Player Magazine, and we want to thank you for playing Fender. Would you like to be in touch with our artist relations department?" And I was like, "Oh wow, like that doesn't suck." So they've been wonderful, and they've I think for the last 3 years, I want to say, they've been kind of just sending me all their latest lines of everything and having me try it out, and of course the Super Bassman Pro series, which is I just love, and the Rumble series, which is light and for smaller gigs, and so that's been great. And I already have their bass, so I don't feel like adding anything to the arsenal right now around basses, but that's been great. And then West Coast pedal boards, they made my pedal board, and oh gosh, Sadowski, Providence cables, kind of a handful of stuff. Yeah.
Nice. That's very cool.
Yeah. Very respectable.
So here's how I would answer the phone if I was Angeline.
Yeah.
The phone would ring, I'd pick up, and I'd go, "I play with Carlos Santana." Hello? Because when the guy from Fender called, I'd been like, "Yeah, that would have been a big deal, but I play with Carlos Santana."
Hey, well, Fender calling is still a big deal, man. It's still a big deal.
And I have to say that because we are this kind of show, we've had this discussion many a time. Gibson has kind of screwed the pooch in a couple ways. So last year they jacked the prices up of their normal guitars like by
only $1,000.
Oh yeah, only $1,000. They used they started doing 0 frets and zero nuts and just craziness. It was insane. And of course that all failed, and now they're back to the way they were.
Electronic tuners.
Yep, the whole bit.
Yeah.
But Fender really got their stuff together, and they never have looked back. I mean, they really have. It used to be when the Mexican line first came out, it was kind of hit or miss. You got one, it was good. The other one, not so much. Now it's like, no, every single one of them is right on. Mm-hmm. They're like putting as much time and effort into those guitars as they are in the USA ones. And it really is, it's showing that company has been going in the right way for a long time.
I've had a Mexi Strat for, oh my God.
That Mexi Telly.
I have a Mexi Telly too, but yeah, the
and
Mexi.
People rave over that guitar.
I've had the Mexi Strat longer, and it's like I can't even tell you how long I've had it, and it's been fantastic. And every time I have my guy Phil set it up, it just gets better.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So they really, I can see why you have that endorsement and why you like it so much, because they have just come around where some of the other companies not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just a staple, and they, like you said, they've been doing something right because they've remained a staple, and the quality, the craftsmanship of even the Mexican-made models is going up, and it's great and being more consistent. It's I love them. Yeah,
good.
That's cool.
It's a good way to represent a product. Loving it.
And of course, you do what we've had the pleasure to talk to a lot of guys that say, well, I don't endorse it unless I'm using it.
Right.
Right. And that's the cool part.
Yeah, I've always actually, the irony that the thing I didn't tell you is the day I was kind of getting courted right before the Fender endorsement by this guy who wanted to manage me, and we were kind of sniffing each other out, and we were out to lunch. He said, "Oh, well, I can hook you up with this endorsement from the space company," and I said, "But I don't play their bass." And he's like, "Oh yeah, but it'd be great. It'd be really good for you, And I was like, "Well, why?" And then I just told him, I said, "I've never been and never going to be the kind of girl that just throws spaghetti against the wall and sees what sticks. Like, that's not who I am. I feel very, I like what I play. I play it for a reason. And, and of course there's some flexibility within that, but your bass, it's like your child, I mean, it's what's attached to you every night that creates your tone. And if, you can't just play any bass." So, and that was the funny thing. So I drew the line there. I said, "Look, I don't want that." And then the next morning I got the email from Fender.
Wow. Wow. Universe works in strange ways, doesn't it?
Sure does.
It really does. The serendipity of it was kind of undeniable, I felt like.
That's very cool.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, play what you love, man. And, if you're good enough, the company calls you and goes, "Hey, we'd like to add your name to our roster." So congratulations.
Oh,
congratulations.
Thank
That's awesome.
On the webpage, our webpage, we'll have a link to her webpage. Mm-hmm. And of course, that'll sit out there for
perpetuity.
That's right. And that'll, once the week is up, it goes into the episode's archives, and it just lives out there for that perpetuity
thing. Right.
And so if you check out, definitely check out her site. Mm-hmm. The cool videos are out there. You get to see her jumping out of an airplane.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Aw, well, thank you. Thanks for putting me on your site, and it's been so fun talking to you guys.
Excellent.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time and working through our technical nightmare in the beginning there. So, thank you very much.
Oh, hardly a nightmare.
Yeah, we've had some that have been like...
It's always something.
Real bad, yes.
But Angeline, thank you so much for coming on with us. Continued success in your career and your touring, and may things just continue to get better for you.
Aw, well, thank you, and same to you guys.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
And when you're on the East Coast, if you come anywhere near the Baltimore area, you have to let us know.
She's going to be up in New York in a couple of weeks, but I don't think I'm going to be in town. Yeah, but. If something changes and we actually get up there, I love the Iridium. It's cool.
Yeah.
So, maybe somebody give you a call and go, "Hey, we're here."
Please do. Yeah.
We're outside the building like stalkers.
we're here. No, literally, we're right here.
Right. No,
exactly. Like the doorman is looking at me and getting ready to dial 911. No,
it's all good. It's all good. But thanks again, and safe travels, continued success, and we will definitely keep an eye out for you if you come around next time. Somewhere in the Mid-Atlantic area, we'll
absolutely.
We'll be looking for you then. So thank you very much, and have a great evening, Angeline.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you too.
Thank you. Take care.
Hey, this is Neely Brosh.
Hey, this is Paul from Blackberry Smoke.
Hey, this is Peter Stroud with Sheryl Crow.
My name is Peter Wolf.
Hi, this is Randy Hansen.
Hey, this is Rich Eckhart, lead guitarist with Toby Keith.
Hi, this is Richie Kotzen.
Hey, how you doing? This is Rob Balducci.
Hey, this is Samantha Fish.
Hey, how you doing? This is Scott Metzger.
This is Scott Sherrard here from the Greg Allman Band.
Hi, this is Steve Fossen.
Hey, this is Sully from Sully Guitars, and when I'm not drinking a Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee, or when I am, I'm also listening to the Amps and Axes podcast.
Well, and there you have the story.
Here's the thing. We've had every guy, girl has been absolutely the best.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely the nicest guest we've ever had. I mean,
just the happiness just comes across.
Smiling.
Yeah, for sure.
You could hear it.
For sure.
And just it's so nice. So we can't thank her enough for that.
Yeah.
And of course Gretchen is like this person who just hooks you up with all these people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just kind of crazy. But so yeah.
Well, I think she enjoys the show. She had a good time on the show, and she wants other people to have the same experience, and we are eternally grateful for that.
Yeah, we can't thank her enough either.
That's right. Right. So yeah, both of them, and that's.
I think if you met that band, it would be like, well, I just met 4 of the nicest people on the planet.
I think so. I absolutely think so.
And they're incredible musicians on top of it.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's
nuts.
I'm looking forward to purchasing the new release.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely want to hear it.
Yeah. That guy, man.
Yeah. A lot of.
That is like a home run being in that band.
Big time. So, and hey, if I was playing in that band, I think I'd be smiling on the phone too.
Exactly. Like I said, every time I answered, I played music with Carlos Santana. Hello.
Hello, who are you? I don't care. No, she was great.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. What can you say? It's another. It struck me. What was really funny is that she, in the big picture, seems to have started a little late. Like she didn't. She
25.
Didn't. Yeah, she didn't grow up with a guitar in her hands when she was 3 or 6 or 12.
Nobody
or
in the
something.
house was spinning a Beatles record or something. Yeah.
Well, but nobody. They were spinning music. Classical and whatever, and jazz. But nobody was a musician, and she just for whatever reason fell into it and had this calling, and there's one more musician and one less lawyer.
Contemplated it a good bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're thankful that there's one more musician and one less lawyer.
Exactly.
And I'm sure she's happy about that too. So that's good.
Yes.
Yes.
So until next time, my friend.
Well, there has to be.
We got more interviews.
We do. They're coming.
It's crazy.
We're going to do one after this.
I'm Mick Marcelino.
Damn right.
And you are?
Wait a minute. I knew this when I came in.
We're going to run out of time.
Jeff Bober.
We're always saying.
Onward.
Be sure and follow the show on Twitter @AmpsandAxes. Also, make sure you like the show on Facebook. For news, comments, and everything else, visit the webpage ampsandaxescast.com. Thanks for listening.